Okay, so today I'm continuing work on this little widget that I'm doing here. This is part of a larger web project to have a customizable home page. Let's delete that. Okay, so this widget, the idea here is that I can click this and it will run commands on the server. So right now it is pulling these guys directly from this is a list that's available on the server. So it's a fake list for right now. We're not actually doing commands. So at this point, I can add and remove commands. I can X that. I can put a plus here, re-add it, and so forth. So now I need to hook up a click event to this guy here when I click him. So here's our widget that we're rendering. And that's the picker, and then when we render the widget, it looks like, yeah, here's where we render render each action. And so each one of these actions is inside this div here, where we have a row that has the name of the action, and then a click that is on the delete button. All right, so that means that this is where our onClick is going to go. So on click, we are going to, all the stuff that we're doing that's business logic kind of things is going to go into these classes we've created. There's the model data. This is stuff, this widget server action data is data that that persists. So if I open up this page somewhere else, oh, of course I won't compile because I broke it. If we open up that page somewhere else, unbreak. So a function that does nothing right now. Save. Okay, refresh. Okay, so if we load this page in different places, we want to see this stuff persist. So that's what this server action data class is for. We also have a transient state class, which is managing the immediate state of the widget. This transient state is where I have is where I'm calling the server API. So this is where I'm going to put a function to execute the widget. And so I'll just do that here and just create a little function called like execute action. And it's going to need to have a name. So name string. And then all right, so before when we were querying this API, what did we do here? Yeah, this is we would do get the list. So now we're going to have a new command called execute. So we're going to say this dot API dot REST get. Actually, it should be REST post. REST post. We want to do an execute. Actually, we could probably put that. Yeah, we could do it like this. Well, this will be a REST get or a REST put. That's probably more. Execute to do. And then we want the name in here. That's simple. That's all we need to do there to tell the server that we want to execute something. Okay, so now the onClick down here needs to call this dot transient state dot execute action, and we passed it in there, action. Let's make this look a little prettier so you can see what's going on. On click down here, then we'll show the action. Doop. Like that. All right, now we can kind of see how that's arranged. Okay, so this is going to call execute action, but it's going to not work. So I'll save there. So when I click on this here, it's going to say, hey, they've got a 404. That's expected. So, because we never added the API to the server. So now on the server side, we're going to come down here to first the index. So the index down here was handling actions list with a get action list. And we're going to come here and register a put command. So this is going to be actions, execute, action name, and it's going to be execute action, like so. So we'll go to get action list, go to definition, and then we need a new one here. And this is going to be execute action. Okay, so these functions return a handler for the request. So we're going to be getting a request and a response here. And then we're going to return something back. Puts usually don't return something, so this will be interesting to see if it cares. It shouldn't matter that we're trying to return something. But anyway, what we need to do here is get at the value, and I'm trying to remember how to do that. So I'll go back and look at some other code that is doing this to remember. Okay, importing, this guy does it. So if we go to store widget, okay, that's easy, boom. Copy, so back to actions. All right, so we were passing the action name. Oops. Action, oh, how did we register that? I forgot. We registered it as, yeah, action name. So the action name is equal to request. We'll do it the fancy way. Like so. So action name is request params. All right. So now instead of doing this, we're going to say, hey, server model, execute action name. There we go. And so now let's go to our server model, and we'll have a function here to execute action. Execute action. And I don't think we're just going to return null on this because the action should just run asynchronously. We're not going to report anything back for these actions. So the action name is being passed here. Action name string. Okay, so what do we want to do here? I think we have a list of actions that we've loaded. So, all right, yeah, get action list is a config. We want the user to be able to change the contents of action list and have it immediately work. So I'm not going to try to cache this configuration. So we're going to do this as a, so what this function, since we want this function to return right away, I'm just going to say set timeout. We'll do our work in here and then just return null. Okay, and now we can probably want to announce this .logger executing server action name. Let's do the inside here so that we know we made it here. That's underscore log. Oh, come on. Where's your logger? Logger.log line. There we go. Okay, so now we need to get it. So we need to get this config off disk. Paste. So that means this has to be async. So we can await it. Okay, so give me the config. So we'll say const action config is equal to that. And then we'll say const action detail is equal to action config. What is the action config? It is a string. Okay, that's not what we want. We want JSON.parse. So we want to parse the action config into an object. Let's open up the action config so we can see. Oh, I don't. Okay, fine. All right, so I have the action config here in my settings. Pag server store in the config folder. Sorry, you can't see what's going on here. So open. All right, so this is what the action config looks like right now. So there's actions. All right, so this is, why don't we just go ahead and do a real action now. All right, I want to see a simple dumb action that we can do would be to open a web page. These are going to be actions that are run from the shell. So I'm going to say open. Yeah, this is trivial. I mean, this is not a very interesting action, but we'll be able to tell if it works. And then the command is https reddit.com. So that should, pretty sure reddits.com, Reddit. Indeed, it's reddit.com. Okay. All right. So open Reddit, and it'll just issue this as a shell command. If I do this, actually, I think what we want to do is we want to say start. Of course, this is going to be different if you're, as I'm on Windows, it's probably different if you're on Linux. Huh. There's probably a nice cross-platform way I can do this. I just don't want to think about it right now. So we have an action here called open Reddit. And all right, so now we're going to come here back to our server model. So now we want to do it. So I do not know how to execute shell commands. So action detail. All right, so let's do an interface here. Actions. Action, yeah, we'll just do an action detail. And an action detail, capital A, has a name and a command. a name, string, command, string. And then action config as action detail array. Okay. Dot find, where the detail dot name is, this is why I love Typescript, is equal to the action name that we've passed in. If there's no action detail, then that's a problem. We'll report it. This.logger.log error. Cannot find action called doop doop action name. Okay, so great. Otherwise, we can run it. Now I got to remember how to execute commands. How is to run shell commands in Node.js. Executing shell commands. Exec. I've used this before. Now I just gotta. Where's the example code? Give me an example. Okay, boom. This is what I think we want, hopefully. Go to the top, add that. And it says, you're not using it. Quick fix, oh wait, no, I'll fix it later. Wait, what's the quick fix it's suggesting? Nope. Okay, so we've got spawn down here. So now we just, is it just that easy? Do we just do spawn? Spawn. Dude. Spawn. Can I import it? Import spawn from child. Yes, let's do that. So if you import it, you get the type detail. Down here again, spawn says, hey, I want the command itself. So that's going to be action detail.command. What are the options available? Go to definition. So spawn takes spawn options without studio. Oh, standard IO. So, okay, extend spawn options. So the standard IO can be to an array of stuff or to a pipe. I'm just seeing what detached. I think we do maybe want it to be detached. Arg0 standard IO shell. I do. Yeah. I have no idea what we want to do here. Let's just try it like this, see what happens. And then we may need to make some changes later to make it work. So we're just going to try straight up spawn the command, see what happens. Is there any kind of a callback that we get a result? It says it returns a child process without null streams. So we're this. What do we get back with this const? The process is equal to that. And now this is a child process. And what can we do with this process? Can we ask it when it got done? Process dot exit killed PID. These are, can we wait for it? Do they wait for it in the example here? Oh yeah, so here they have the process. They do some stuff with it. Maybe we'll do an error on close. Okay, fine. So let's do these two things to see if we can watch it. Do so here. No. Sometimes it does that. It copies the whole line. I'm too fast. So on error, we're going to say logger.log error, and we're going to say spawn failed with the message, and this one will be logger.log line. Great. Okay. Save. Server, you should run now. Okay, good. So now we go to our dev page. And we don't want any of these because they're not valid anymore. No, I'm not configuring. Bother. Okay, this button is too not good. Okay, let's add. No, let's refresh. Add. Open Reddit. There we go. Did it try to do it? Nope, that's what we want. Okay, now if we click. Yeah, exciting. Okay, what happened here? JSON parse.find is not a function, so I didn't like this. What did I do wrong? That's wrong. Okay, fine. Whatever. Whatever. I thought that was good syntax. Const actions is equal to JSON parse action config as action detail. Boom. Okay, now it'll work. Saving. Okay, open Reddit. What do you mean it's not a function? All right, fine. Fine. Is that really what, did I get that right? So, where's the JSON that we had? Explorer. Why can't I see the Explorer? Okay, VS Code. Why can't I see the stuff that's open? That's annoying. Open editors. Okay. Where's that JSON? There we go. So, oh no, of course not. Okay, because I'm silly. Okay, that's wrong. It's not an array. Although, why not just make it that way? Let's just, since we know it's, well, you know, we might have other stuff. I'll just change my code. So we need to get actions off of it. JSON parse dot actions as action detail. Okay, that will work now. Okay, so now we click this. Woo. It failed to start it. All right, did not know. Okay, now what happens if we actually try to do this? So let's start a new console window and we just say, let's make sure we're running this in the command. Start HTTPS. I'm going to pick a different web page. Let's just do google.com. That worked. Exit code minus 4058. So let's see why this. Ask Google. So start command error minus 4058. Do we actually have it? Minus 4. Oh, I want 4058 in there. Okay, well, let's tell Google to force that to be in there. Can't install error 458. What is 4058? Request host name is invalid. I wish I knew what error 458 is. Get rid of the start command and just look for error 458. Wow, this is all associated with NPM. That's weird. Error 458. Running an application window. Indicates the value used for the screen value is not in the list items of the combo box. Okay, let's do a different tack here. Let's query Node.js open a browser window to a URL. How to use Node.js to open the default browser navigate. So what do they say? Use open. Require open. That's nice. Okay, there's another one. It is, they do an exec start plus URL, exactly what I did. Why don't we indicate here that we're going to try to spawn this guy and see what we're actually trying to spawn. So console.log, no, logger.log line. Executing command, and it's going to be the action detail.command. I don't think spawn is a problem, but we might as well try exec here and see if it makes a difference. That should be easy to tell. Where are we? Exec. Okay, that looks good. Don't know what the difference differences, maybe because of spawning a new process. I don't know. Dev, open Reddit. Oh, it worked. Way to go. So it was exec. All right, fine. Fine. So that works. So now we have a means to, nice. We're mostly done with this widget. So I guess the only other thing we want to do here is like inform the user inside this window, maybe. Or just have some tiny text. Trying to think of the best place to let the user know where they need to mess around with the widgets. Yeah, I think I'll have like an info section down here that they can provide for the details. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to add a way for this configurator to also have details at the bottom for knowing how the widget works. And then I'll clean up the UI here so it's not this big ugly code. Okay. So first of all, let's look at how the configurator happens. And okay, so the configurator is a class that we show, or it's a component we show. There's a widget frame, and the widget frame makes a decision on whether to show the configurator or not, I think. I think there's a component here called the configurator, right? Yeah. So let's see where we're showing that. Widget config here in the page controls where we show it. So here, if it's configuring, so the context is the widget container itself. So the widget container has the details we need to find some text for the configuration. So how do we do that? So the widget container is here in the models. You know, I think I've made this widget configurator so far off of the widget that I've made it so far off the widget that it's hard for the widget to possibly put things in the configurator, which I'm sure in the future I'm going to want to do. So I feel like this maybe ought to be in the widget frame. So let's see what the widget frame is doing for us. Yeah, this makes sense. It makes sense that the widget frame should handle the configurator. So let's go here to the widget frame. All right, in fact, I'm going to check in what I have here because I like what I'm doing, and this is a new direction. So I'm going to check in, and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so the server model, we added this ability to actually execute a function, execute the actions. We have this action detail interface. That should really be at the top. And go up. And we'll just do that. Save. Okay, then the action has the execute action for the API. We have index. we added the API for executing actions, and then we changed, yeah, that looks right. Server action, I commented that out, realizing we don't need it. And then we have execute action, and then the click does that, and then the widget template. I added some code there. I changed, oh, yeah, I just changed, there's a syntax errors I fixed after updating some packages. Okay, and then our to-do is updated. Okay, so now we made the server action widget is now clickable, and server executes the action. Okay, all right, so now, oh, come on. Oh, fine. I had to configure, it's because I have a freshly installed machine. Fine. Git config sg user email username site. Oh, didn't like the sg. Let's just do it. Git config user email. I think it's this one. Great. Okay. Can we do it now? Yes. Okay. Okay, now back to what we were doing. So what we want for, all right, so we want to be able to have, we want to be able to have the widget show stuff in the frame. Or like, let's refresh here. What we want to do is, oh, look at that, it didn't save my widget. Yeah, that's another problem. I think I know why that's happening. So if I do open Reddit, it says that it says it's trying to update it here, and it should save it after a minute. Okay, so anyway, what I want to do is when I'm showing this configuration page, I would like the widget to be able to add UI here for custom configurations. So the widget should manage its own configurations through this configuration dialog. So that means that at the point we show this dialog, this guy should already have been constructed and ready to go. So close that. And so now let's take a look at how we render the widget. Let's close all this, collapse, and start fresh here. So we were looking at the widget frame, but the widget frame was given the context. My mind is, we found it, it was in the view, it was in the page. No, it wasn't that one. It was in the components. I think, yeah, so the page control here is rendering the widget frame, and it's passing this page item here. So let's go to the definition of where we render the page item. Yeah. All right, this is a bit of a puzzler. So this, okay, this is where we get the widget control, and we get it through render widget. Okay. So, all right, let's think about this. All right, I think I know what we're going to do here. I think what I want to do is I want to have a widget control that renders in different modes. So let's go look at our template to show you what I'm going to mean by this. So this widget template is how all widgets go, and the widget is basically something that looks like this. It's got some state, and it knows how to register itself. There's a bunch of junk going on with widgets. They construct themselves, and then when you render, just very simple, we render the thing. So this is what I want to do with a widget. I want the widget to actually have 3 methods, possibly more. So we're going to have one method called like render content. Another method called render config. We'll call this config UI. And then potentially we might have another one called render. Let's just make it simple. We'll just have render content and render config UI. This render is going to be overridden. We're gonna make this inherit from another a base class for widgets. So we're going to make a new guy called widget base here. So new file, and we'll call this widget base.tsx. Boom. So widget base is going to look a little similar to this guy. So let's just start there. Okay, it's not going to have a transient state. It will come from a React component. Let's just import everything. And the comments always confuse it. Okay, so this is going to be a widget base. It's not an observer. Okay, so widget base. This is common functionality for all widgets. All right, so it is a T. So it's a generic type, so that we do this so we can pass these funky arguments in. Okay. And it is not going to have a constructor. It will have an abstract render content. And this has to be an export default abstract class, widget base. Render content. It needs a return type. Returns JSX element. Render config UI. Returns a JSX element. And it is also abstract. Okay. What is, okay. All right, so the render method needs to make the decision about which one. Okay, so we can actually do a lot of like great things here to make overall widget construction simpler. So want to return something. So let's go back to the widget template. Yeah, actually, I want to put all that stuff back. Okay, so yeah, I still think we want to do this. So I don't think I'm going to make it a T. T extends context, which is a widget model or widget container. Okay. So whatever T we pass in needs to have a widget container context. So all the widgets are going to have that. So now we can pull the context off. We are not going to pull in data because we're not like looking at the data right now, but we are interested in this stuff. So let's just add all the missing imports. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and get these styles correct. And we also want to have here this the right the other parts of the style that need to come in for all widgets. And so the way we did it in these other ones is I think there's a I think it just needs to be height. All right, so we'll just do here height 100%. Okay. All right, so now we're coming in here. Whatever we're gonna render here. But now we can make a decision. Okay, I lied earlier when I said that this is not going to be an observer. It is, because I have lately just enjoyed just putting state into a mobx controlled object. So can we do? I'm gonna do an experiment here. Observable. I think we can decorate a class this way, but let's try. Class. This is a default widget state. Oh wait, no, we want to call this, sorry. Widget base state, and it has an observable property called configuring, which is a Boolean, which is normally equal to false. And it's not happy because it's declared but never used. So we're going to say base state is a widget is equal to a new widget base state, like that. All right. So now we have our state. And so now we can make a decision here on this dot base state dot configuring. If yes, then we want to say this dot render configui. Otherwise, we're going to say no, this dot render content. Okay, so this will enable us to have a widget that can think about both configuration and content in the same space. That makes sense. That'll make it less complicated to deliver later. All right, now let's apply this to our existing widgets. So the widget template no longer does this. It returns this in render content. So boom. And then we'll just say return div to do put custom configuration UI here. And then I'll put headers on both of those. So render content. This is for normal widget content and render configure I. This is for special configuration. Great. And then we don't need render. Okay, so that is compiling now. All right, so now we have a widget base. So let's convert our server runner widget to this new format. So all we need to do is make it inherit from widget base and then add these two functions. So let's just copy them. Render content. And so we'll come in here to server action. And after the last method here, we'll do these. Okay, and then this render, actually, we'll just make this render content. Like that. Okay, so now we no longer need this render content. All right. Okay. Now we need to hook it up to the base class here. So this extends widget base like so. No. Base quick fix import. Okay. La la la. Okay, and it is not happy up here because we imported React somehow. Okay, save. Refresh. Oh, okay. That's on line 16. I did this experiment I did is probably wrong. Widget base state, yeah, so this is, it doesn't like that. Fine. I do not like this. The MobX changed their way of doing this and I don't like it. But fine, whatever. I'll do it because you said. But I'm only giving you one line. Let's try saving again. Pretty sure I fixed it. There we go. Okay, look at that. And it even filled up our page like we thought. So if we click the ... we get, oh, we didn't actually do, okay, we got, there's another piece we got to do, which is fine. Okay, so get rid of you. Let's move this over so the configuration is always, we can see the whole thing. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. So, all right. So the next thing I think we need to do is we need to move that stuff in this page control. I really feel like oh no, I made a Okay, it's going to be something I'm going to have to resolve here. Oh. Okay, yep. Okay, this stuff here should go inside widget frame. So I made a mistake on the widget base. This is actually not going to go here. It's going to be simpler than this. Oh, no. We'll get all this. I just kind of painted myself in a corner here. Okay. This will still work. This will still work. I just have to do something a little bit different here. This is where I need to render the widget frame. So yeah, let's do that. Okay. So in the page control, we had this widget frame here. Really, and this is yeah. Okay. Let's just do render page item here. Okay. All right. So what's render page item going to do for us? It just returns a widget control. It'll either return the default widget, or it'll return for us the thing that knows how to render the widget. Definition. Render widget. Yes. Yep. So render widget is going to return for us. Is this JSX element? Yep. Okay. Sorry. Just going through a lot of thought motions here. Okay, so yeah, this will give us what we want. And so now we can take all of this junk out. And I can put it here in widget base. I'm just going to dump it in widget base for now and comment it out so I can just have it for reference, but I'll come back to it. So make this page control work. We now can get rid of the state that we created here for the page control. So page control, this dot state. Oh, no. Where was the configuration there? It was c.state configuring. Where did I do that? Where does that come from? That's on the widget configurator. Oh, then we'd have that on the context, and that is defined. Oh, okay, that's nice, because it means that the widget container already has this idea of a configuring state. Okay, great. That just simplified our job by a lot. Okay, so back to the page control. It's unhappy because it's importing these two guys. Fine. Fine, we don't need them. But now we can move them into the widget base. So, haha. So now what we want to do here is render our widget frame. So, oh, wait. No. Don't get lost, Eric. Don't get lost. Okay, so we have a div and we have some choices to make. First, we need to decide if we're showing our configurator. Boom. No. Copy. All right. So there we go. What am I doing? Okay. All right. The C is the context, so let's just make it real. Context. We'll get there. All right. All right. So if we're configuring, we're going to show the widget configurator. Otherwise, we are going to show the widget like that. So we're going to get the style. Okay, great. Yeah, this is right. This is working. And then, all right. And here, we just want to straight up render content. We don't care if it's configuring. Okay. And I'm going to add to the configurator the ability to, so there's the context, which is the context. But then we have a custom UI is equal to this render config UI. Okay, so it doesn't know about a custom UI, so let's go to the definition here, and let's say in our properties, all right, let's define it as a class. So interface widget configurator props. Boop. No. Interfact. I should auto replace that typo. Okay, so drag you to here, end, and then down here we do widget configurator props. Okay, and it, interface widget configurator state, and we'll, okay, so this is the state. Okay, and then okay. All right, so the props needs to have an additional custom UI, and that's going to be JSX element. JSX that element. And oh, it's all complaining because I don't have a curly. Okay, now we're happy. All right, so and then we need to do here configurator props, widget, state, configurator state. There you go. All right, back here. All right, so now the super props. Okay. Why does, oh, because it's the wrong type. It should be this. Okay. All right, so at this point we have this custom UI, which can be optional. And when we render this guy, we're rendering stuff. And then down here we render some details. And so I think what we'll do is we'll say div this dot props dot custom UI. That's it. Okay, so now we're rendering the custom UI. The base guy is not happy because why? Why are you not happy? Because oh, I have this code here. So I've done the widget frame and I've done the configuring state. Yes. So I no longer need this widget base state because I already have that somewhere else. I do need to make this class an observer. Okay, and I don't need the base state. Why are you not happy? I need to resolve the signature classic. Is it because it's abstract? Alright, classic component class is not assignable to type void, type of widget base. Classic component class is not assignable to type. Argue type is not assignable to parameter of iReact component. What's wrong here? Observer from ObjectReact. Well, I'm confused. So what does it look like on something else? Like this guy is injecting in it, it's calling observer as well. I'm going to take this off just for now, just to make it compile. And then I'll try to put it back on. I think it might be because it's abstract. I hope not. Okay, so open Reddit. Oh, the frame isn't rendering. Why didn't we do that? Because this part needs to go inside the widget frame. Widget frame context is equal to the context like that, and then we'll put this inside the widget frame. Okay, boom. Refresh. There we go. All right, so that looks like a widget frame. And if I do configuring, yeah, so there's my custom configuration code here. So I think I should put that above the delete. So to the widget frame guy. So that worked. I didn't have to make it observable. I don't know why that worked. That should not have worked. Okay, so no, this isn't the widget no, the widget configurator. So the custom UI, I want to put it above the delete button here, like that. There. So there it is above the delete button. Okay. So that's a nice addition. I will probably need to modify my other widgets to do this. Pretty easy. I'm kind of amazed that even works. What am I? Oh no. Why is that happening? Oh, I know why that's happening, because I accidentally dragged out a widget and I haven't fixed the other widgets. Okay, so let's fix the other widgets. Okay, so first of all, let's take off that custom configuration in the server action. So down here, there's some, okay, return, I'll just return nothing, not an empty div. Okay, fine. Refresh. Okay, so that's fine. Returning nothing, great. All right, so now all of the other widgets we need to fix. So the widget default is going to extend a widget base, like so. And it's unhappy, doesn't implement the guys. So this will be render content. I don't know why I did it that way. And then let's just fix it. Fine, I'll leave it. And then I'll just say render config UI, and I'll just go null. Doesn't like null. Fine. Div. Great. So it's basically just going to go on everybody. So now everywhere we extend, so widget frame should be a component. It's not an actual widget, it's a component. So let's drag you up there. Use components. Yes. Always automatically update. Okay, and then there's a default widget. All right, so the picker widget needs to extend on widget base. Quick fix import. Why does it do that every time? Okay, and it doesn't like it because this should be render component. And then we have a render config UI. This is just, oops, equal to div. Okay, and now it's not happy. Why? Because we added something. Or didn't we implement? Widget picker, render content. Render content. Great. Okay, so that's the widget picker. Widget text is extends oh, here's where we have our state. Yeah, this might be tricky. Widget base. Okay, it's not happy because oh, I don't actually have to have that in here. It's just a convenience. Okay, and this is mad because it doesn't have this render content. And then we want to have okay, fine. Let's see if I can make this work. First of all, let's add the other one. Render config UI is equal to this, pointing to div. All right, so it wants this editor thing back. So let's try putting it back. Editor, I think it was an any. And then go to widget base, go to definition. And we'll call this T. And we'll call this state T. Okay, T, state T. All right, now if I go to rich text, it's happy. The widget picker is not because it didn't provide it. So how do we do an optional generic type? Optional generic type argument in Typescript. T to make it just set it to void. Sounds good to me. So state T void. Okay, everything's happy here, I think. Yep. Do we make widget picker happy? Close. Okay, why? Okay, now we're getting into the weeds. So this widget picker, all right, so what we did makes it not look like a JSX element anymore because of what we did to widget base. So we said state T is void. Is there another way that we could do this? Or just say default it to something like this? Ah, that solved it. Good. So widget picker is happy now. So now down to rich text. It's not happy because it reported React, of course. All right, so we fixed rigid text. All right, rigid search. All right, back here, back to widget picker. We'll copy this guy. So now in the widget search, search data, here we go. Okay, so it's gonna do the same thing here. So let's just do it like this. widget base. No, that's not what I want. Okay, quick fix. Import it. Alright, widget search is unhappy because this should be render content. And we need to have a render config UI. Like that. And then it imported something. Why does it always do that? Okay, and then finally, widget Spotify. Here. Can I paste? I'll just paste that. Yep. Quick fix. Import it. Now we need to say render content. And then we'll come down to the bottom. Render config UI. Yeah, I like this. This is nice. And then get rid of that stupid React that got added. Okay, does it work? Refresh. Yep. Let's just delete these. Oh, delete. Bye. Delete. Come on. Goodbye. Alright, so if I do this, what am I? Some rich text thing. And I can start doing some stuff. Great. Okay, we got this ugly little white line here. We got to get rid of. Why did that show up? So let's see if we can inspect and find it. You white, that guy. What are you? Div, you're the application. Oh, this is the TinyMC bit. Why do you have a little white border? I'll worry about you later. Okay. And then that was the rich text one. Let's check out the Spotify. Log in. There we go. That looks nice. And then the other one is a search. Yeah, that looks right. Boop. Oh, that is the widget default. I think that's rendering. So when we're resizing, we do that ... Where is that? Here on the page control. Let's make a widget. Let's do a blank widget. Oops. So we'll render a blank widget here. Yeah, we broke it whenever we kind of changed our thing. So let's make a blank widget out of the template, or the widget default actually. So widget default, copy paste, F2, and we'll call this widget blank. Okay, and widget blank. Oh, oops, no, that's not what we want. Widget blank. Okay, and all it does is it renders nothing. Okay. And then back to our page control. We want to bring that in. Oh, it wants a context. Context is equal to context. Oh, fine. C. Nope. Where do we get the context? Container. There you go. Save. Refresh. Oh, failing to compile. Why? Who's failing? Maybe if I just save it again, it'll go away. Refresh. There we go. Okay, so now if I'm, yeah, so I can, it's just blank when I'm resizing. Okay, cool. Oh, that's ugly. Okay, the red, interesting. Interesting. I'll fix that later. Okay, so what have we done here? We did all this work because we wanted to be able to customize something here. I can't remember what we wanted to customize. Dang it. It was, what did I even want to customize? I can't remember what it was. I was going to put something in here. I was going to say, I'll remember eventually. Well, anyway, we added this cool new feature that we're not using yet. Totally against all my principles. Okay, so let's look at what we did here. So we refactor, move, create widget base to manage configuration and widget rendering. Okay, so we changed the Spotify widget to match this. We changed, oh, I guess it was already always there, but we didn't need it anymore. I don't get it. And then we added, okay, yeah, that looks correct. Widget search, fixed it, fixed widget rich text, fixed the widget picker, renamed, or moved widget frame. Let's just, yeah. Widget default, fixed that one, added a blank widget, added a base widget, which does all that stuff, very nice. Modified our widget template to include these two guys. Set up a widget frame in here. Okay, we moved it, and then we did the widget configurator. All right, let me stage everything to make sure I didn't break the widget frame. Yeah, no changes there. So widget configurator. Okay, yeah, just did some refactoring on it so that I could add the custom UI and it'll show it in here. And then page control, I moved all that stuff out of the page control so that it's very simple. Oh yes, I like this change. This is a good change. All right, so let's do that. Oh, now I remember. Haha, I recall what I was going to do. All right, so the whole reason I did all of that was I wanted to put some instructions in the server action widget. So just here, note, server actions are defined in config/actions.json. in the server data folder. All right, what does that look like now? Refresh. Okay, so open Reddit. If we look at this guy, nope. Yeah, server actions are defined in config actions.json in the server data folder. Hooray. Okay, that's all I wanted. All that work just to add that little bit to the config dialog. But now we have this way for everybody to touch the config dialog, which is something I was going to eventually want to do anyway. So let's delete these guys. I don't want them in there. Delete, delete. Okay, that looks like a good day's work. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to sign out. See you later.